This weekend, Andy is hydrating, Ryan is fighting demons, and we play with our stick on the Game Boy Advance. I'm Ryan,
I'm Andy.
and this is Weekend Rental, episode 199. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Andy, how have you been?
Pretty busy, even though not very busy. It just feels busy, I guess. But
Yeah.
a lot of other stuff going on. So, but
Adult
hanging in there.
responsibilities.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Yeah.
Adulting stuff. Yep. How about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I don't really know where the last 2 weeks went from the last time we recorded. So, yeah, spring is sprung. That's nice. Although it looks like we're going back into winter this weekend potentially.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
gonna make sure I have the snowblower ready for that.
And then MGC in a few weeks.
Yes, yes, that's been all the talk around our house. My kids are very excited. Got my last couple things booked. I decided we should do something different this year. So I made a reservation for that Safe House place. That's like the espionage themed restaurant and bar. So I made a reservation for that for Saturday night after the show. And then you have to like give them a code to get in at the door and everything. It's kind of like a whole speakeasy setup. Seems kind of cool.
Huh.
I hear people talk about it. I just never have had time to go. So
yeah, I've not
This'll
heard
be
of
the
that.
year.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. And then I think that 3rd Street Market may have lifted the kids out by 8 mandate because it is not on their website anymore, which would be amazing, especially on preview night when like you don't want to have to like rush to get in there and then try to get back. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for MGC. I'm not looking forward to the drive though.
No. It definitely gets longer and longer every year, I feel like. Especially, that the drive home.
Yeah.
When you shoot it all in one day, basically. So
Yeah, at least that seems to go fast for some reason, for the most part. But yeah, it is brutal. It's a long day.
Mhm.
Hit the road at like 7 a.m. and get back home around 7 p.m. Got stops and stuff. So yeah, it'll be cool. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, we run into a few familiar faces too. I'm trying to coordinate, exchange phone numbers with It's Rocket Sauce. So hopefully, we can bump into him this year. So
oh yeah.
be nice to chat in person after the podcast. Topics, man, we're all over the place.
We kind of came out. Yeah, I was digging, scratching the bottom of the barrel on mine.
Yeah, well, and I was like, well, how many times can I talk about Supernatural and Sea of Thieves? So I was like, I better not put those down. I'm like, I'm sure I'll bring them up anyway, so I'm just gonna leave them off there. It was Mario Day yesterday.
Yeah, it was.
As a gamer, I don't know why, but I'm kind of opposed to this holiday. One, because it's dumb and not real. It's like it's the Valentine's of Nintendo, right? It's like I get to work and I have a coworker like immediately jabber me, like, "Do you know what day it is?" I'm like, "The fictional holiday for a Nintendo character." She's like, "We're playing Mario Bingo downstairs." I'm like, "Great, have fun." Like,
oh wow.
I'm like, all I care about is if there's a good deal, and there were deals if you don't buy first party Nintendo games when they launch, but I do, so no luck.
Yeah, I think that's been the problem. There was only one that I was kind of interested in. That was Mario and Donkey Kong. I didn't get yet.
That's worth it for 30.
Yeah, I should have picked it up. I didn't grab it, but yeah, all the other ones were. I mean, at the same time, we're at the very end of the Switch.
100%.
It's over, and we're still not marking these down to $20 yet. Like,
well, and they had the balls to put out like a Switch OLED with Mario Wonder bundle. I'm like, who's gonna drop for like? Well, it's $350, but I'm like, who's dropping that kind of money right before the Switch 2?
yeah,
That's dumb. Yeah, I don't know. I was very unimpressed with the deals this go around, and I'm just kind of like over the whole fake holiday thing. I mean, it's bad enough we have Pi Day coming up, so
I didn't know it permeated that much into like workplace culture where they're having Mario Day now too.
yeah, I got some interesting people in the basement.
I'm cutting
Yeah,
that part out.
it's a good sound bite. Yeah. There's some dorky, well, nerdy people like us in the operations of my bank for sure. So
Yep. Hmm.
it's interesting. Uh, Curious on your Rocksmith. Why are you still playing Rocksmith in
Uh,
2025?
so they basically fire sailed it on Steam. I don't know if they're just like about to
Shutting it
dump it.
down? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the servers are already down, so I don't know
They're just gonna
what.
delist it and call it good.
Right. They had every song on there for 99 cents or even lower.
Okay.
So I ended up having the largest transaction I've ever had on Steam, where it was like 165 items, and that was kind of fun. Although Steam doesn't know what to do when you try and download that, and it tries to download 100 and some DLC packs at the same time.
Sure.
It was having a rough go of that. And even Rocksmith, I mean, this is 2014, so it's over a decade old now too.
Yeah.
Uh, does not run on a lot of modern hardware. For some reason, you have to set how many processors that the game uses, because if you have too many processors on your computer, it like hits something in it and it crashes.
Too much power?
Too much power. That's
Oh.
exactly it. So it feels like I'm like fiddling with DOSBox shit just to get an old computer game running, and I'm like, this is a modern game. It came out, I guess, on last gen, but still.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, been playing guitar again and getting my calluses built up.
Yeah, because
But
that's the Rocksmith is the one where you put like an actual guitar, like
yep,
amp in. Okay, that's what I thought. So
yep.
fun.
Yeah, it connects with USB, and then it becomes like an audio device, so it can recognize
Okay.
the tone or whatever. But
Nice. So how much did your transaction cost you then? How many like pieces was it?
it was, let's see, I think it was like 170 some dollars
Okay.
altogether
That's not bad.
for, yeah,
For everything?
160. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much everything that they had available. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think there's some that's missing that's like delisted. Um, I know they had to put out the game a while ago again because they lost all the rights to it. So they took all of the licensed music out on it of it and just put it out with like generic public domain songs in it.
Just butt rock songs. That's what people
Yeah.
want. You know, you don't want those recognizable tunes in a video
Yep.
game like that.
Yep.
Uh,
But
interesting. Well,
so I've been doing that.
that's not something I would have expected you to pick up at this point. There's got to be a way to sideload whatever files you want on that thing.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty sizable community to that,
I would hope so.
for custom maps and stuff too. So someday I'll get to that, but I'm
This is-
also working through all these songs now.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. For sure. Does it have like a Guitar Hero grading system sort of thing too, or not really?
Not so much that it scores your percentage, obviously, like how accurate you scored and stuff like that. It does a really good job of keeping a certain difficulty level, and
Okay.
it keeps it dynamic, so you can set it at like really low, so you're basically just playing like every like 10th note, like it doesn't even sound like you're playing the song.
Sure.
But if you keep perfecting it and you keep not missing, then it levels it up and it goes until it basically is the actual tabs of the song, you know.
So it's actually like trying to teach you as opposed to just
Yeah,
modifying.
here's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of cool. Can you
And that
do like bass guitar and stuff too, or is it just regular?
yep. Yeah, they have all bass and rhythm guitar stuff too. So they've
Nice.
no paths for that too. But yeah, I think that's probably one of the better tools out there, because if you get into tabs, they do have automated tab systems, but they're just basically, here's the notes and here's the time, right? So it's just
Right.
play along to it as it goes. So this kind of gradually gets you up into the chord progressions and stuff like that slower. So it gives you a little bit more muscle memory, I think.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, it's been
Yeah.
good.
It always looked cool. I thought I just never ended up grabbing one. So
Yep. Well, if you want to, you better get it now.
yeah, I'm probably okay. I did find a $94 clearance electric guitar at Walmart though that I was like, that is still too much for I'm sure the quality of this guitar. So
That's yeah, that's crazy. Like you know, $80 used to be like or the $100 mark was like the cheap guitar, right?
yeah,
So I
can't
guess
imagine how
inflation.
bad that thing was.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of music, I just put this down because have you heard anything about that Tool like getaway destination in the Dominican thing that they put together?
Yeah, it sounded awful.
Yeah, so apparently like it was a all inclusive 2 day like music fest with multiple headliners and well multiple bands and Tool headlining both nights. There was no option from what I understand and what I read to buy part like one night versus the other. Like it was you were going and they were promised, two concerts, and here Tool just did essentially they only played like well it's Tool. They only play like 10 songs, but I guess it was like four of the same songs from the set the night before were played the second night too, which when you consider how long those four songs that they repeated are, that's like over half your set or at least half of it. I just what balls for a band to do that.
Yeah, I mean they're probably used to it though at this point. I mean, you go to that concert and you get high and then you don't even know where the song ends and it goes to the next one, right? Their songs just drag on
Yeah.
and I'm a huge Tool fan. I love most of their stuff, but in a concert setting, I can't imagine 2 nights. I think one night would be plenty.
Well, and if you're doing that as the band who's organizing that for a weekend getaway for your fans, like I'm sorry, you have an obligation to play two completely different sets.
Hmm.
And you should probably be doing some like weird deep cuts that you don't normally play at
Oh
all.
yeah. Yep.
I just don't get it. Like it's I guess the backlash is pretty realistic, and some people are pretty outrageous, and some people are like, "Well, apparently you don't know this band. If you ever go see them on tour, it's always the same set list." It's like, yeah, well, multiple stops on the same tour, I get, but like this was pitched as a 2 day event. Like, come
And the
on,
ultimate thing, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty rough. I just saw Metallica this year, and were doing the same thing where it was a 2 night event, and they made sure they had two,
set
distinct set
lists,
lists.
yeah,
So yeah, that's pretty bad.
yeah. I just thought it was pretty insane. I mean, and I like Tool also. I just would be pissed if I it's like my favorite band in the world, and I'm flying away. Like, I can't imagine there's a lot of. Well, that's not true. There's probably a lot of wealthy Tool fans out there at this point. But when I think of Tool fans,
Yeah,
like it's always burned into my head like the stoner kid from high school that wore all black and had like that Tool shirt, and that was all he wore basically 4 days a week. So
yep.
yeah, that's what I
There was
envision.
always that guy. Yeah,
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure there's normal people that love Tool though too. Yeah, that's a wild one. What else is
yeah.
God, I have like no topics. Well, Hellboy. I'm curious on that
They made a
game
new
movie.
they made a new movie.
Yeah,
Did you see this thing?
no,
It's not good.
yeah. The last one they did that didn't have what's his name, Perlman, was
Hmm.
also very bad. So I watched the preview for this one, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm
Th-
not gonna do that.
It's it's really weird because there's barely anything that has to do with Hellboy at all.
Okay,
Like it could basically just be a supernatural show or anything like that. It could be an episode of Supernatural. It's just like Hellboy stumbled upon these witches in deep South Appalachia, and there's probably a connection that I didn't catch, but overall it was just like him being there, and he kind of contributed to the solving the problem. But it is a straight up horror film, and
Okay.
it's not really an action film or anything like that. It's almost all straight horror, but they're just kind of throwing everything at you, where it's just like weird sounds, and then it's like body, the limbs go in different ways than they're supposed to,
Oh
and
yeah, that
so
sucks.
so they're just throwing like all the different kind of cliches at you, where
Sure.
it's just like, what's actually scary about this, instead of just making it, like manufacturing it to be scary. I don't know.
Yeah, and like that's a interesting take because like the Hellboy character is always kind of more rooted in like the occult world setting, but it's never meant to be like terrifying. It's just that's what he's up against is mythical and the demonic things. So, which I guess a witch is, but like if you're gonna make it spooky, that just kind of doesn't jive with what the character's about, right?
Right, yep.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah. And the first two, it's Perlman's character that makes those so good, and kind of how he plays off the other characters in there, and the sarcasm and stuff like that, where
Yeah,
this is so straight laced that it just loses a lot. And I didn't see that when you were talking about that remake. I don't know if it's a remake or
it was like
what, but
yeah, it was like a reboot, and I don't think that this newest one is even like in line with that. I think they're both just different actors, different directors, and
yeah.
I don't know. It's such a cool character. I wish they could just kind of get it right again. I thought the Perlman ones were, I mean, they were, I don't know. I guess they were Marvel esque, right? Like they were kind of
Mhm.
in line with that. And I don't know that a Hellboy movie needs to be that necessarily, but I think that's a much better angle to take. And I wish they'd have kind of kept going on. I wish they'd have gotten at least one more with Perlman. But
Yeah. This one I thought like surely it was just a script that they picked up and be like, well, we can shove Hellboy in here and make a movie out of it.
sure,
But apparently it is like a well-known story in Hellboy, so I don't know.
interesting. So what is that on for
Uh,
streaming?
that's I think it's a Hulu exclusive or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
I think
So
you're right. I think that's where I watched the preview. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm glad I didn't put it on because we watched the trailer and then it's like, nah. But I probably would have worked my way back to it at some point. But I'll skip it now. So
yeah, not worth it.
save me some pain.
You know, hey, should we talk about my new water bottle? That's where we're at in life.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son's got one too. You're in the same club. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, my son asked for it for Christmas and just was obsessed with it. Right.
Yep.
I didn't really understand what the whole big deal is about this. Must be the new water bottle. Stanley's out, Circle's in. I don't know.
Well, what I don't understand is Circle started out as a fragrance only thing, and then that didn't work. So now Circle is a like flavor additive straw thing, which defeats the whole purpose of what it was initially, right? It was like just supposed to override your senses, make you think you were drinking something, but it was still just
Yep.
water.
Now it just is adding stuff to it. Yeah.
Yeah, like energy drink ones even, which is like wild.
Yep. Yep. So I picked one up just to help drink more water, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
See if it would work. And I have been. But then I got into I found the world of people hacking these things, like ripping them apart and putting their own shit in these little tubes.
Okay.
And it's pretty wild. The people, the people that are doing it, it's like, why are you doing this? They're like adding like soda and like the Soda Stream stuff. That's just like
That's the
cola.
the syrup?
Yeah, the syrup. They're putting the syrup in there,
Just
and
buy pop.
I mean, what?
And this thing's supposed, like you said, this thing is supposed to get you to drink more water. Like it's supposed to be the healthy, like hack,
Yep.
and that's why we got one for my kid because he sucks at drinking water. Just like, well, I guess if adding a little bit of like sugar-free flavoring is going to help you, then we'll do it. But
Yep. Then I started to think: is there people out there that are just putting some pretty some vodka in
THC.
there, and yeah, THC, anything in there, you know. I'm just
Yeah,
saying because it is just on the bottom, it's just clear water. That's all you can see.
right.
So you could hide anything in that little straw thing, but
Ah, get it into concerts and events and
uh-huh.
interesting. I had no idea it was so nefarious.
Yep. I mean, that's probably the real drug problem in the world right now is
Circle.
yep.
Yeah, I just think it's such a weird thing. But obviously, they must be wildly popular because you even go to Walmart and they've got like the Great Value brand of like cartridges and stuff. So that's like when you know that like you're an everyday product when the refills are being knocked off by the Walmart brand.
Right. Yeah. And that's what most of these people are doing is they're taking these straws off and then like filling it full of like the Mio. They're just putting they're just buying it and doing the work
You
for them.
could just put it in the water though.
Yeah.
Why hack the straw? The Mio's already in a little bottle. It's convenient.
Yep.
This makes no sense to
And
me.
then people are like talking about like I've been reusing my straw and now it has mold in it. What should I do? And it's like, yeah,
Throw it the
stop
fuck
using it.
away. Jeez. That's wild. I had no idea. Uh, interesting. I don't need a circle to get me to drink water because that's like my mission at work is like I don't drink that much water at home because I basically go to work and I've got like a giant tumbler and I just make sure to like drink that dry as many times as I can throughout the day because then I like to like backload like having to pee 80 times at like 2 o'clock on. So my afternoon goes faster because I have to go to the bathroom every 30 minutes. So
Yeah, I find that too. Like when you're at the office, I drink more water just because it's like takes more time.
yeah,
I
I
don't
gotta
know.
walk over there. I gotta fill up the cup. I have to go to the bathroom a couple more times. It's
Yep.
healthy for me and it gets me out of work.
Yep.
I mean, cumulatively, I'm probably like saving myself 20 minutes of work a day, but still, you know,
Hmm.
something.
Someday they're gonna say we get rid of that water cooler. We're losing too much productivity.
If they did that to me, I'd freak because I use the thing to make coffee twice a day too. I need that water, damn it. Um, I like that our topics have come down to like flavored water. This is good. So I wanted to talk about. I think we maybe touched on it the last time we recorded, but the rumor of that Tony Hawk 3+4, yeah, worst kept secret ever. It's happening. It's coming right to Game Pass, which I like day one. Um, I like three. Four is kind of where they lost me. I think four is the first one that I didn't ever. That's when I got to the point with those games where I stopped beating them. I didn't even finish that one. Um, but I am excited to have Tony Hawk back because maybe this finally gets us to a point where we can just have, I don't know, a new one that doesn't suck, and we'll just pretend. Let's just make Tony Hawk 5 and pretend Tony Hawk 5 didn't exist.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are they gonna remaster five first or?
I think such a pile of crap. So yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it looks like they're adding some new stuff this time, which I don't think they did 1+2. I mean, they changed some stuff, but I don't think there were new levels. I don't even think they had the XL levels in there from the Microsoft exclusive version of that game, which is kind of wild to me. Like they should have at least got those. They weren't
Yeah.
great levels anyway, but yeah, I think it'll be cool coming out in July. Um, New and old roster. I saw they got Big Boy Foy in there, so that's good. He's like probably one of my favorite like current skaters. Dude who looks like he should be playing, defensive football, who grinds like handrails that are 150 feet long. It's kind of amazing. And then there's like the big controversy now is Bam hasn't been announced. But then there's photos of Bam recently with the old school crew and Tony Hawk at the ramp. So I don't know if it's
Huh.
just like he's not announced yet or if he's fully cut out of the game. Because four
Well,
is where the turning point really started, and then it went to underground, and that's where Bam kind of was like number
it
two
was his
to
show. Yeah.
Tony. Yeah,
I I wonder if I think I saw that they're cutting out the story in four
which is
for
probably
this
fine.
remaster. But that's probably because of that. They're cutting
Oh, because he had some lines in there and stuff.
probably.
Yeah, I think he did.
So
Yeah,
that
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 could
might
be.
be.
as long as the skating's good, because it is a different company too than the ones that did the last one. So I guess it's all about how it's gonna feel. It's
Hmm.
looking good though. The dynamic lighting looked great in the trailer. I don't know why they think people are gonna pay $20 extra for Doom Guy and that stuff, but whatever.
Those are supposed to be cheats.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be. Yeah, I wonder if that. I mean, the last one must have sold decent enough.
Yeah, I think it did really well. Um, it's still like available in most stores you go to. You can get physical copies of it. So
Hmm.
it'll be. I mean, if it's on Game Pass too, it'll be nice. We can just like jump in and do like some games of skate or something, and
Yep.
maybe we'll have to dust off our Twitch channel at some point and
Yep.
do like a online competitive stream. I kind of
Yep.
forgot we did that. I just remember like the other day that because I was looking through I was doing something with our uploads and I was like, oh yeah, we used to do Twitch like 4 times. Just never worked out. There was always something.
Yep. Then you fall out of habit on it.
Yeah, and how many times can you go on Twitch and have nobody watching?
Well, you were watching.
I was watching. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Uh, Pokemon Burger King.
Oh my
They
gosh.
got a promotion going on right now.
No, no. So uh, this somewhat explains my water bottle needed to get a little bit more healthy because I have a deep rooted unhealthiness that stems all the way back from my childhood. Apparently,
Okay.
my parents were cleaning out one of their sheds and they found a tote of a bunch of Pokemon stuff, and some of it was really amazing. Like I found it was like the boxes to the original games.
Really nice.
Yeah, which
Cardboard boxes in good condition
yeah,
and everything.
yeah, I folded them up and they're like mint.
Dude, you're gonna
So
make some money.
yeah, I was pretty excited about that. And then I found that I have a full set. I don't know if you probably don't remember these, but there was a promotion when Pokemon first became a big thing, where they had gold plated cards that came in a
Okay.
Pokeball. And they were like the premium thing you had to buy extra at Burger King. Like, like I'm going to pay $10 because I want this thing.
Sure.
And I have the full set of those. And I was pretty excited about that.
What is the
And then
value on something like that?
uh, I think they're maybe $100 for the whole set.
I mean, it's
So it's
still
not
not bad.
nothing. It's yeah, it's not bad. I don't know what the gold value is. My kids thought they were solid gold, and I'm like, well, they're gold is like $2,000 an ounce. So
Yeah, that's a good turnaround.
yeah, buying gold at Burger King.
Maybe you're the one who cleaned out Fort Knox, and that's why Trump's so interested in checking.
Yeah,
Melted them
I've
down and made
this-
cards.
yeah, yep. Our currency runs on Mewtwo now. Uh,
It's going to be more stable than the dollar here soon. So
uh, and then the rest of the tote was the Happy Meal toys from that same promotion, and
yep.
they were like Pokeballs that had different small toys in it, right?
Yeah, because that original one was the one that they got sued, right? And they had to start putting holes in the ball because like some dumbass kid like covered his face with
Oh,
it, like a toddler, and killed themselves, or another
oh,
kid put it over a kid's face, but yeah, somebody suffocated and died.
huh. I didn't know anything about that. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Huh. Um, and with it, I had the poster from Burger King with all these toys on it. So I don't know how I got that. If I just stole it from them at some point or just asked for it. But then I looked through it and I think I had like 30 of them.
Okay.
And I did the math. This thing ran for about 3 months. And I had 30 Happy Meal toys. So 1 out of 3 days, basically, I was eating at Burger King as a child. So that it's probably not a healthy way to go about it.
You probably have a cholesterol issue that you've carried over from your like 8-year-old self.
Yeah.
That's funny though. What a treasure though to find something like that.
Yeah,
Especially those boxes, dude. Like that's actual money there. Like
yeah, that for
manuals and
sure.
everything too.
I couldn't find the manuals. It was just
Okay,
the boxes,
but
but
still,
the boxes were nice. And then also a bunch of boxes from like Pokemon card decks that I had bought back in the day too, which I mean,
okay,
that's even more ephemeral, I imagine. Who was keeping that shit, right?
yeah. Did you have any like your original cards in there too?
My cards I still have
Okay,
some. They're in my I still have those around
in
here.
your safe.
Yep, I got them. That was one of the first things I got from my old, you go home and where's my Pokemon cards?
Yeah, I have some really cool like turtles and GI Joe stuff. Well, turtle stuff I think that my dad has at their house that I was supposed to pick up and take home, and then my dad like decided to just add like a second like entry room to their garage. So he instead of taking the stuffs off the shelf, he just finished them as full walls. So now like I have to remember that when my parents are dead and like let's hope another 20 years that I have to take a hammer to the wall and like smash it to get my childhood belongings back out. So really stoked about that decision.
Well, can't wait to see the news story like 50 years from now about some person who found turtles in their wall.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what else he had up there, but there was like I swear to God, he had like 8 totes full of stuff that he just decided like, nah, I'm just gonna it's permanent storage now. Like it'll add R value, you know,
Yeah.
really insulate the wall. It's wild. I don't get it. So I don't think there's like a happy, hey, here's a tote of Pokemon toys for me in my future. I think it would be a little too much work. That's cool though. That's really cool.
And
Yeah,
I have 8 more totes to go through too. So, but that was the
really.
main one. So I'm sure the other stuff is, from what I
Some
could
junk.
gather, it was is more others. Yeah.
Some of that stuff, like my parents gave me some at one point, and it's just like a bin full of like all my school papers and stuff. I'm like, why the fuck did you keep this?
Yeah.
Like, keep like a thing, like keep 2 things from each year and get rid of all of this. This is just trash.
Yeah, that was a lot of this too. In one of the totes was is a lot of that. And it's like you go through it once and show your kids, be like, look what I did, and then you chuck it, you know.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
well, what was the point of that? Like
yeah. I think I
my
threw the
kids didn't
majority
care.
of it.
I didn't. I barely cared about it. So
100%. Well, most of it you're not even gonna remember. Like, I
yeah.
found collections of like everybody traded the school photo things back when we were kids, and like, why
Oh
did I
yeah.
hang on to these? I have no idea who these children are, like at all. So dumb. Yeah, I didn't really have any other topics other than I was just going to touch on that we are. Well, you I saw you made a comment on a supernatural episode on Blue Sky, which I used to put a sick burn on my wife that she'll never see. So I guess it was mostly just for me to laugh at. But we, like I said, we bought that DVD or Blu-ray collection, so we as a family now have started officially rewatching, and we're like 20 episodes in, so we're almost done with the first season. So
Wow.
I'm very excited to rewatch. I'm very fearful for like the really shitty dip in the few seasons, but overall, like I forgot how good those early seasons are and how more horror themed they are. Bugs is still one of the worst episodes of all time. That episode makes no sense. But the thing I find myself missing though from the first season or these early seasons is like they just haven't developed the humor yet. Like there's very little like laugh out loud,
Yeah.
and like the comedy that rolls in and creeps in with those characters later on is kind of what makes the show and the characters.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into that. But yeah, I asked my wife, I was like, well, when do you think we'll finish this then as a family? She's like, oh, probably by the end of the summer. I'm like, no, we're not getting through this by the end of the summer. Like, there's so many hours of footage here. So it'll be like a year-long thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're pretty deep into the second year now.
Yeah,
And we're on the last season now.
that's
Probably
awesome.
20 episodes left. And that one's kind of that season's kind of weird because it starts, I mean, obviously it's the whole series like constantly brings back things, right?
Yeah.
But it's starting to like bring back things like I don't even remember this. This was so long ago. Like they're bringing back things from episode one, even, you know.
Yeah. There was a lot of like, we're going out, so let's try to revisit all the things that we loved,
Yep.
and then the pandemic screwed it up, so most of it's like half baked and didn't work, and then you end up with a series finale that feels pretty. I mean, it's not the worst series finale I've ever seen, but like I guarantee you, you'll be disappointed with it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you're in the home stretch. Then it's funny because my son had started watching the part of the. They hadn't gotten through the first season with my wife. Like they were gonna just watch it, and I think he got scared by one of them, so they quit. But my daughter had never watched it, and now we watch it, and she's just like, after every episode, she's like, "This show is so good." I'm like, "Yeah." And then she'll like scream like when they're getting attacked and stuff, like, "Oh my god, is he gonna die?" I was like, "Lily, season one here. They had 15 seasons. Like, we're good. He's gonna be okay." And then I was like, "And you'll
He
learn
will
that even if
die,
somebody
but yes,
dies,
he'll be okay.
does not matter. The rules do not apply in this show at all." So yeah. Yeah, and then it's interesting too with those early seasons, and like you totally forget like the years long plot of Sam being like partially demonic, and then which they just
Oh
abandoned
yeah.
at some point in the show, like
Yeah.
halfway through. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
fun to go back.
And it's fun like when they bring back characters and they become different character too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of times Cass will be a different character for a while, and then
Yeah,
you know, Lucifer is kind of a different character after a while,
and
and
they changed out
there's
that first demon too a bunch because they couldn't keep the actresses.
Mhm.
So, which that one gets really confusing because they do it so much, like you can't even keep track of which demon
Yeah,
she is. It's like, which one
yeah,
was that again? I don't remember.
they just say the name every time. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious to see when you guys get to the end what you think of that ending. But yeah, you're right.
yeah.
That last season is kind of all over the place. The show is at its best when it's episodic. I think it's, when it tries to do contingent storylines too heavily for too many episodes is where it bogs down.
Oh, for sure. And that's kind of where we're at. Is like almost every episode is connecting to the story, the main story, all the time
Yeah,
for the
which
most
starts to
part. So,
suck.
but you
Yeah,
do get little pieces here and there. But I mean, at some point, 15 years, what are you supposed to do? I mean,
right.
they've made every sort of monster that they possibly could. They've probably done every story that you could out of it. You know,
Yeah,
like you can't really get much emotional character, you know, through that for that long.
it does make me
I,
wonder what their pitch will be if they do decide to bring it back, which it seems like they're going to. Like, and will they get Kripke back as the producer? Because, like, I mean, he left pretty early, so I don't know. I feel like it
yeah,
would be very Jensen and Padalecki heavy as far as like writing goes, because they seem to love the IP more than anybody. Which I guess whatever, it was your job for 20 years, so
right. And I think probably the comedy comes a lot from them too. You know, just riffing
Mhm.
off each other like that. So
Yeah. I did make so I did make one parental mistake. So everybody was getting into it, and we started watching this first night, and we just binged like, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes. And then my wife was like, "I gotta go to bed." So I was like, "Whatever, that's fine." So then my kids were still up. I was like, "Hey, why don't we watch like?" Because there was that year where the show had really taken off, and then both the main actors were getting like offers. So there was that year where Jensen did My Bloody Valentine 3D, and then Padalecki did. I don't even know if I'm saying his last name right. He did the Friday the 13th reboot that sucked. Both of those movies actually kind of suck. So I was like, let's watch one of those. That'll be fun. And I couldn't find the Friday the 13th one available to stream for free anywhere. So we went with My Bloody Valentine 3D, which I haven't seen probably since it came out. Like we went and saw it in theaters. Um, Totally forgot how 100% gore fest it is. And then I completely spaced. I don't know how. There's a scene where a woman is like full nudity, just running around, tits and ass and all of it out for a good 3 minutes straight on
oh
screen.
wow,
Like just
wow.
way too much screen time for this. So my kids are away, and then like my son rats me out the next day. He's like, "Dad didn't look away. He's a pervert." I'm like, I had to make sure that there was no nudity. I'm like, plus I'm an adult. I've seen boobs before. Leave me alone. So, so that ended up being like a complete disaster, pretty much. And then it scared the shit out of my son to the point where like he couldn't fall asleep that night. And then I let him sleep with my wife because I was like, you can just go sleep in bed with mom. It's fine. I'll take the couch because this is my fault anyway. Uh, which she didn't appreciate, and was like, I should have just made him sleep with you. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you were already in bed though. It worked out fine. So yeah, don't do what I did. That was I really didn't think it would be that bad, but it was pretty bad.
Huh. I don't think I've seen that one. Yeah,
It's
that's
not good.
um I think it's all comparison though, right? It's and like how you act around them, if it's scary or not, right?
Sure.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I just think it was like because it was like that. It was that campy 3D. It was 3D before like the 3D glasses even. So it was like literally
Mm,
the blue and red thing. So they really tried to make the kills gruesome with like pickaxes
mm.
and stuff. And I think that's what kind of freaked them out.
Yeah, that is kind of a weird angle. I mean,
Yeah.
it's uncommon to see that type of.
I mean, he did watch Evil Dead Rise though, so it's like I don't know. That should be scarier, but who knows?
My kids all got freaked out by Beetlejuice too. So
Mm.
the
I
baby,
mean, there's some stuff like
they didn't like the baby.
that's understandable. Well, should we move on to staff picks since we got past terrible parenting story time?
I'm I'm curious about yours because I can't imagine it's the song,
Oh,
but
okay, I'll go first. It is the song.
oh,
So it I was gonna bring it up in an earlier episode, and I just kind of forgot. But like around the start of the year, Spotify did like these Spotify singles series, and they just like tapped different artists to do different songs and put them exclusively on Spotify. And Bring Me the Horizon of all bands decided that they were going to cover Wonderwall, and it's actually
yeah,
really fucking good. It's just like straight driving guitar like through the whole thing, and then I mean the thing I always like about Bring Me the Horizon is Ollie Sykes has like a very limited vocal range, but his screaming voice is just so like guttural and sick sounding. Like it's like a putrid scream that is just amazing, and he uses that very well in this song. It's definitely not like metalcore heavy or anything. It's more like I don't know, poppy screamo, but it's a really cool cover. And for some reason, Gallagher actually liked it, and he hates everything. So
wow,
he was impressed with it, which surprised me. But yeah, it's a cool listen. It's not gonna reinvent the song for you or anything, but I liked that song anyway, and I like Bring Me the Horizon. So if
huh?
you have Spotify, or I'm sure it's on YouTube, check it out.
Yeah, I'll try that. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to that because that sounds interesting. Trying to
Yeah.
picture it in my head right now, and I'm like, well,
Yeah, it kind of falls in
I
line with
can.
more of their new stuff where I feel like as a band they've kind of gone more like poppy with like a tinge of heavy, and that's kind of what this is. So,
Sure.
but it fits the song real well,
Hmm,
and it's a
yeah,
classic, right?
yeah. Aren't they making new music?
Yeah, they're back to. Well, I don't know if they're
I
making new
don't-
music, but they're getting back together.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's just like the biggest thing in the world over there, and they're still a one-hit wonder for us over here. So it's like, why? You just can't quite fathom it. Like they're really the biggest band in the world. Like this is a big deal that they're back together. Like, I mean, Wonderwall was good, but
It is funny. Like if you showed a picture of them to any random American, nobody would know who they are,
or
basically.
they might get them confused with the Beatles, like at
Right.
best, right? Yeah. I mean, not that they weren't successful over here, they were, but they almost were just a one-hit wonder, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean that's the one.
But I mean,
Huh.
same thing with Blur, right? Like song number 2 is all we know. Like we forget that they had like a massive career outside of that.
Yep.
So, what's your pick here?
Mine's a board game
Okay.
that I haven't played recently, but was coming up with a blank on what to pick. So this was one that I always found interesting. It's called Time Stories.
Okay.
And it's kind of a mechanism and a rule set. comes with the board and all this, and comes with cards and stuff like that. But there is 100 different expansions you can get for it, and it's just cards and its story. So the premise is that you are going back in time to a specific spot, and you're kind of doing an escape room type thing where you're discovering parts on a map, going to those maps, talking to the people there, doing different checks with dice depending on what your character is good at. And it's a co-op game.
Okay, that's nice.
So it's kind of got like that D&D thing where it's like, well, you're better at this, so you try and do this, right? And but everything you do takes time, and you have a limited amount of time units. And once you're done, it's kind of like a roguelike where you go back, you kind of keep some of the stuff that you have, but you have all the knowledge that you have. So you start over and do it all over again until you kind of maximize the run to the point where you get to the ending, right?
Okay.
And I'm conflicted on whether or not I like that idea. It's kind of good to have that where you go back and you're like, I know exactly what to do. What if we tried this time? And, you know, but at the same time, is it just filling out the game? Is it just game filler, you know, to the story? I don't know.
Sure.
Both times I played it, I think I was basically like, toward the end of it, we're just like, we're just ignoring the game units. I mean, it's a co-op game. We're just, let's see what the story is, right?
Right.
Just keep going.
Just want to get through it.
Right. Because it's a decently long game too. So especially once you like, oh, start over and then, you know, do the things that you already did kind of already. It's a tough sell at that point. But yeah, it's pretty enjoyable, dude. We've only played one scenario, and some of it's pretty hilarious too. And some of it's just a giant waste of your time. I mean, that's part of the game, is like a whole bunch of red herrings, you know. It's very much an escape room. They've really mastered this type of game since this game came out. I think this was 2015 or so, something like that.
Okay.
Now they've really mastered it. You got things like unlock and exit and all these like escape rooms in a box things, right? But I like how this one is self-contained in a system where you can buy the expansion, you know how to play, right? Because
Sure.
it's, you know, kind of know what to expect. You have the map, you have the cards, all this stuff. All the way to the point where there's a lot of custom ones that you can like print. People have like come up with their own stories and their own cards.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's a lot of the stuff is like stuff that people come up with. They come up with their own story, or it's based in a, yeah, I mean, there's Skyrim ones, there's Final Fantasy ones, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there that you can just kind of download and play. And I haven't done that yet, but eventually that might be something fun. I think though, going forward, I might just not deal with the time unit stuff and just
mainline
play
it.
Yep, just play it and be like, well,
There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like if you still get the adventure out of it.
right, you still get the funny red herrings and all that stuff. You know, it's just not it just seems like a harsh penalty to just be like, well, go back and start over and redo a lot of the stuff you already know.
Yeah. Which is fun anyway.
Some of it is dice rolls. So it's like, well, you could have a good dice roll and get something, and then the next time that dice roll doesn't work out in that favor, and well, now this run's screwed. So like, how many times do I got to do this? You know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Even some dice rolls at the end where you're just kind of like, well, I just want to get through this door or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Since it's co-op, get everybody on board on the same thing. It's not a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it
Where
does
did you
have
find
that
one. Was that like an online purchase, or did you find it in store?
I found it at a used board game store.
Okay.
I forget what town we were even in, but I had heard this recommended before.
Sure.
Because of just kind of it's a large system that's out there. Right. But yeah, there's a million expansions you can buy for it, and it's basically just a deck of cards that you get, and then, you know, with a pretty detailed story.
Sure.
But
that sounds pretty interesting. forgot to mention it, but I was going to tell you. Target seems to be doing their like sort of annual board game purge. So if you find
Oh,
yourself at one, we stocked up. I think I bought like four over the weekend. They had like some pretty expensive ones at our one Target, like $35, like yeah, like detailed games like this, like role playing and stuff. They even had like that Lorcana that you've mentioned was
oh
down to
yeah.
like $7.
Oh wow. Huh.
So yeah, if you're wanting to add some to the collection cheap, it appears that they are liquidating a lot of stuff right now. So
Yeah, I better check that out because yeah, Target's basically the only ones that really get into hobby board games.
yeah, yeah, you would every place else is like yeah, your monopolies and your stuff, but yeah,
Yeah.
Target brings in like some detailed stuff. We bought that. I'm most excited about the one where it's like I don't know what it's called or whatever, but it's from like the Exploding Kittens people, and it's where you solve all your problems with a sword fight. Like every round ends with a sword fight, and I'm like, I just can't wait to see like how violent this gets at our house because it's gonna. So curious on that.
Is that the one with? Is it inflatable
No, these are
or?
foam.
Oh, okay.
So I'm waiting to inevitably see one broken. I assume that's what's gonna happen. It's yeah, because the only other game we had like that at our house that we ever played was that uh burrito game where you it's essentially the same concept, but you like huck a burrito at people, and that ended in like complete chaos in our house to the point where we didn't even finish the game because someone in the family I won't name didn't take kindly to being smacked with a burrito, even though it was part of the game. So oh, can't I don't make the rules, kids.
That game has I at this point I don't think there's an actual game attached to it. From what I can tell, there's just burritos that lay around her house, and
Yeah,
then somebody picks one up and throws it at the other person, and that's the game.
yeah,
But
it kind of does seem like that's more of the shtick. They did have they had zombie burrito. I'm like, I'm not buying another version of this game. It's like $6. So yeah, interesting. Well, I'll have to keep an eye out for that one. That sounds pretty cool. Time zones, you said it was?
time stories,
Time stories.
yeah,
Okay. There we go. Well, I suppose now it's weekend rental time.
I cannot wait to hear you pronounce this.
It's easier than the last one. So for anyone who is unfamiliar, the weekend rental is the game we pick each episode. We play through it individually. We give our opinions as to whether we would buy, rent, or burn in that game. By burn, we mean set it on fire. And the system of choice this go around is the Game Boy Advance. And the game we played is Kururin. Is that right?
Sounds right.
Close enough. Import game. Um, I was introduced to this style of gameplay way back in the PlayStation days when I used to get the official PlayStation magazine, and at some point one of the playable demos on one of those was called Irritating Stick, and it was just this game essentially. So like this is like up there with Mahjong, I'm pretty sure, with Japanese games. Like there's just a billion of them.
Yeah,
And the premise is basically you're navigating a digital maze with a stick that is always rotating at a set speed and clockwise rotation, which you can actually in this game flip, I think, using springs. And maybe it's not always set. But anyway, the thing's always spinning. And then, the maze that you're navigating through is set up in a way to, make you have to work with the spin to navigate tight sections or reverse things. Interestingly, in this game, they tried to like tack on like a cutesy story where you're a bird that flies into this weird helicopter thing. So you're not actually a stick. You're just a bird oddly flying a helicopter in a very tight corridor for some reason.
out of control plane. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. There's not a lot to say about it. It's a really well done package. It's almost a little too cutesy sometimes. Might be my only complaint, and the difficulty gets pretty real pretty fast. This is a game that definitely, if you're playing on the Switch Online, benefits from the rewind feature. It will save you a lot of
oh yeah,
restarts. I forgot about it like I usually do until I was like pretty far into the game, and I was like, oh yeah, I can just go back. I don't have to fail every time.
right. And I don't think this game in particular is cheating too much with that because it's basically the challenge of getting through a section, right?
Hmm.
Like no matter how many times you do it, it's still a challenge to do it right the first time. So
Yeah.
to be punished just to go back to the level and get to that point again, it seems unnecessary when the whole challenge is just to get through that section that you lost on, right?
Yeah. I
And
like I like the gameplay loop in this too, of where you come across stuff and you're just pissed and you're like, this is impossible. There's no way through it. And then like that 10th time you just like breeze through it, no problem. You're
you
like,
know,
what was wrong with me?
you know, yeah, that is weird. I think I got too hooked on the fast using there's a button that you can go faster,
Yep.
and the beginning levels are somewhat easy, so you can. I was just breezing through them, so my muscle memory was locked on that speed thing,
Yeah.
and that gets rough in the end toward the backside of that game where you got to really finesse a lot of stuff to get through.
Yeah.
And there are times that you need to speed through it too, but
Yeah, I think it stopped being fun for me when you were getting to the stages where it was just like, oh, here is like spring hell, and then there's just spiky cannonballs also. Good luck. I'm like, this stopped being intuitive and is just cruel now. Like, I
yep,
don't know what we're doing here. Mm. I
yep.
had one that I spent a ton of time on, and then thought I got to the end, but I didn't realize that somewhere along the way I had looped back, and
Oh yeah, I did that
just
one
went
on.
back to the start, and I was like, what in the fuck?
I did that one too. Once they got into the maze stuff, I was like, this
Yeah.
is a little devious. And now I'm exploring as this stick in this maze.
Yeah, I did appreciate that they like tried to make it somewhat approachable in the sense that they were pretty good about where they staged replenish, because you can essentially you can hit the wall 3 times with your stick, otherwise you explode, and then your run ends and you have to start from the beginning each time, from the maze. But they do like usually 1 or 2 checkpoints per maze where you can replenish your hearts, which is really
Mhm.
nice. I think they tried to make it accommodating, realizing that this is a puzzle type game on a portable system.
Yep. I I also see where they got the Dadish got the inspiration of finding children at the end and talking to them. Although this one is like a little more bit more cruel, where he just like leaves and he's like, I think I forgot something here. I
Yeah,
ran into that quite a bit.
they missed like the good humor too. Like you want more
Oh yeah.
sass from the baby radishes. I did. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting layer. There were so many like weird power up things that you got that, like, as far as I could tell, seemingly did nothing, and they lasted 2 to 5 seconds.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
I'm not exactly sure what some of that was about.
Yeah, that seems like it was like lost in translation or something because it was, or it wasn't emulated right or something. Because yeah, it was you would
Yeah,
pick it up and like literally 2 seconds later it was gone, and
yeah.
it didn't do anything. It just made your stick look different.
Yeah, it doesn't seem worth it. There's like some unlockable or cosmetic
Yeah.
thing like that. Again, minor complaint, but I wish they would put English dubs on some of these when they bring them over. This one, I mean, you can play this game perfectly fine without it, but
Hmm.
some of that stuff to navigate menus would be really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Had you played a version of this before?
I I think I've played this one, but yeah, I've also played other ones like Irritating Stick, and
Yeah.
there was one on Xbox One where it was a taxi that like
Yes.
a limo taxi that did this, and it was all
Yes.
FMV, and it was like Crazy Taxi. That one was kind of cool.
I played that one too because there was like some fire sale one time and I bought it and I was like, "What in the fuck is this?" But yes, I remember that. Yeah,
I kind
I
of
mean,
want to go back to see that one.
it's an
Yeah.
interesting style of gameplay, right? Like, I mean, it, it's just inherently good, simple fun. Doesn't really benefit, like you said, from the little story flourishes or the characters. I mean, whatever. It could have been pretty much anything. I mean, I guess it gave them something to shoot for from like a graphical perspective, but I don't know. I don't know how much legs this has once you're through it, and it doesn't seem like it was that long of a game.
Yeah. I uh I got to the end and then it said I was missing some stuff and I didn't really want to go back and find
Okay,
some of it, but
I got very
I don't
close. I didn't finish that last section.
yeah. And then Yeah, I wonder if I wonder if there's more levels after that, or if that's just the end of the game. Because that seemed a little bit like if you were really good at this,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the
This
other thing is like there's no in between. Like if you go around a curve and your thing is like perfectly in the middle and it just doesn't even move, it feels amazing. It's like
yeah.
I'm a god gamer at this. And then you hit the wall and then it bounces off and hits the other wall and then you like die immediately. You're just like that. I'm the worst at this.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes from zen to like complete frustration very quick.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool. I don't know, maybe this does like through the link cable, but I'm sure there's versions of this type of game that have it, but a co-op like competitive head to head would be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
It could be
Racing and
super
stuff like that. Yeah.
frustrating. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what do you think about rating it then? Where would you put this game?
I think for a portable, boy, I would have loved this game as a kid. Like I think I'm gonna buy it because although it's pretty repetitive on what it is, I mean the stuff it does add stuff on top of it, but the core mechanic doesn't change. It's just
Right.
getting through the same different obstacles, right? Um I think from there you probably could have got a little bit more detailed and puzzle-ish, but for a Game Boy game, Game Boy Advance, I should say, I think this is perfect for portable. And yeah, I'd buy this. How about you?
Yeah, I think everything you said makes sense. I'd probably give it a rent just because I don't know how often I'd go back to it. It's not, it is sort of a puzzle game, but not in like the sense of like a Tetris or something where like it can just be endless fun or you can go for high. Well, I guess that's not true. You can do speed runs here and go for fastest time, but I like it a lot. I think it's very solid. I just think that it's probably something that I would pick up and then maybe not touch again.
Yeah, I think you could get good at this. I think that's part of. I think you would drop it pretty fast once you got good at it.
Sure.
I think a lot of the fun is like that kind of that middling challenge, challenge that you is presenting it, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah, it's a cool one. I'm glad it's in the collection. So
I gotta track down that taxi one again.
yeah,
That one felt like a fever dream when I played it. So
that is definitely in my Xbox 360 library. I should plug mine in and take a look at it. I'm picturing the box art right now. Well, not box art, but thumbnail art.
the digital thing, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's another episode in the books, eh?
Yep. So you, in short, we recommend the KKK.
What?
The
That's a soundbite that I'm going to take for you. That's going to haunt you.
Do you think that's what the speedrunners in their community, like if the
They
people that
refer to
speedrun,
it?
yeah,
Reddit
get the
threads?
KKK?
And there's just like a bunch of white supremacists out there that are like wholly confused. Could be.
Uh, all right. Well, if you like this show, you might like others on the Geekade network. There's plenty to choose from. And we also do a movie podcast on their Patreon feed. This week, I think, is Space Truckers, which, if you've not heard of that, neither did I. So
it invented Minecraft pigs, just so
yeah. Oh my gosh, I didn't think about that. Wow, yeah. It's the first movie with square pigs. Yeah. We're on Blue Sky. We do accept email at weekendrentalpodcast@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, until next time, be kind, rewind.